Hello everyone, I'm Joel McDonough,
And I'm Matt McHugh.
and we are McHugh Painting.
Yeah, so typically you got different tape for different surfaces. The blue we call kind of like a multi-purpose. We'll use this for taping floors. We don't like doing this directly to the floor because it's a higher adhesion. Same with the orange, it's a high adhesion. I think this only has a 3-day removal, so this is more of an exterior product or something if you're, masking off a fireplace or some rough surface you need to tape to. Typically our go-to is the frog tape, which is good for protecting surfaces, but also getting a good straight line. We don't always recommend people to tape everything. We like to encourage freehand. Getting into brushes, you can have a 3-inch brush, which is more for production or commercial style painting. Your 2.5 is typically, again, kind of your multi-purpose. This is a all-pro, kind of similar to the Brilliant multi-purpose brush, right? This one you can use interior, exterior, and then sometimes I like recommending a 2-inch brush. Again, 2-inch will allow you to get a little bit more accurate. Same with like a 1.5 or 1-inch to get more of the details. But I like using personally a 2-inch for cutting, and then I'll always roll it after to get rid of the brush marks. I just get good results with a 2-inch, but to each their own. There's hundreds, if not thousands of brushes available out there, and they all have different filaments. There's sometimes interior brushes, exterior, soft bristle, firm bristle. So in my opinion, there's a specific brush for every job, but it's everybody's preference. So it comes down to what surface you're painting and what material you're using. Our kind of go-to caulking, we like the White Lightning. This one is obviously in a squeeze tube, so you can get in behind toilets or areas where it's a little bit more difficult with the gun. Typically with the gun, we like the dripless style, and then our go-to is the Powerhouse. So that's Sherwin-Williams, I think it's called the 1100. Great product, it's got silicone in it, so I recommend it highly for kitchens and baths, wherever you're getting water involved, as well as for just the application side of things. I think with the silicone, you can smooth it out a lot better. So the name of the game is to, cut the tip on your caulking gun very nice and fine, maybe on a 45. Again, to each their own. Everybody likes using a different technique with caulking, but I always say, hey, have a wet rag with you. That's the key, in my opinion. And to have some water to tool it afterwards with your fingertip, your pinky, depending on how big the gap is. I know sometimes we've come across really big gaps where it's like you almost have to do a layup bead of caulking and then fill it in the second or third pass. There's been some really tough, tricky gaps to caulk, but there's that saying where it's caulking in paint, make a carpenter what he ain't. And another aspect we want to talk about is different polys and products we use for protection. This is a 3M mask. It's got electrostatic to it, so we like using it in not only kitchen settings because it'll cling to the cabinets if we're painting the ceiling, for example, but also furniture, beds, couches, etc. I think it's some of the best stuff on the market. You can reuse it as well, so we tell people if you don't get paint on it, bunch it up, take it to the next site, because there's always use for plastic for a good painter. You can wrap your rollers, brushes. We don't like to wash them out at client's house. We like to take them back to the shop in the slop sink and make sure everybody takes care of your brush, because a brush is your tool, and an extension of your hand. So the better experience our painters get with their brush, the better the result. Okay, so sandpaper, I like to not only recommend, when we clean up, to have a dirty rag and a clean rag, but also when it comes to sandpaper, having 2 different types of sandpaper. So something a little bit more rough and something fine. So depending on the surface that we're sanding, right, we could use something rough. If it's a rough surface, in a smooth situation, we'll use something a little bit fine. So typically fine, I would recommend 180 to 240, somewhere in there, and then rough, you could be anywhere from like a 40 to a 60 to 80 up to like 150 is kind of your mid-range. So yeah, we encourage all of our painters to have several different grits with them to understand what proper sandpaper to use for prep.